Alright, in this video we're going to talk about divisibility of numbers. And we're going to learn some divisibility tests. So the title of today's notes is Divisibility Tests, Part 1. Make sure you put today's date in the upper left-hand corner or right-hand corner of your notes. All right, so the word divisible means a number can be divided by another number. So for example, 24 is divisible by 4. All right, so there are some rules with divisibility. And so we're going to go over a couple of them today. We're going to look at the divisibility rules for 2, 3, and 4. So to be divisible by 2, here's a rule where if I give you a number, you can tell me if you can divide it by 2, and it'll work in every case. So if you're divisible by 2, you look at the ones place. So that's the ones place value in the number that you're considering. If the digit, or the number, digit just stands for number, if the digit in the ones place is an even number, so that means 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, the number can be divided by 2. So you look at the ones place in any number. If the digit in the ones place is an even number, so 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, the number can be divided by 2. So that means that you can take that number and cut it in half. So let's take a look at applying this rule. Let's do an example. Which numbers in the choice I'm going to give you are divisible by 2, or can be divided by 2? I'm going to give you 4 choices here. 22, 23, 25, and 30. So of those 4 choices, which ones can you divide by 2? So again, you use your rule. Divisible by 2 means you look at the place value. So you look at the ones place. So the ones place, I'm going to highlight in each problem. you look at the ones place, if that digit is an even number, so the digit is even for A, not for B, not for C, but for D as well. So this means that I can divide A and D by 2 and still get a nice number. If you divide B and C by 2, you would get a decimal, which that tells you that it's not divisible. So divisible should give you a whole number as your answer. So that's the rule for divisible by 2. So if you wanted to tell me if any number can be divided by 2, you look at the ones place in the number. If it's even, you can divide that number by 2. All right. Next, we'll look at divisible by 3. So the rule to be divisible by 3 is you have to add up all the digits in the number and determine if the sum of what you added, so whatever the number is that you added, can be divided by 3. So remember, the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 27. Oops, excuse me, I skipped a bunch of numbers there. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, and then so on. So essentially, when you add up all the digits in the number, you're seeing if that sum equals any of these numbers. If it does, that means it can be divided by 3. So for example, let's take one of these numbers. Let's consider 36. If you add up the digits in the number, 3 plus 6 gives me 9. So when I add those two together, I get 9. 9 is one of the multiples of 3, so that means I can divide that number by 3. Just because 9 divided by 3 is 3. So let's do our example here again. Which numbers are divisible by 3? So let's say we have 27, 35, 123, 125. So remember, the rule for 3 is you add these up, the digits in the number. So I'm going to add 2 plus 7 equals 9. 9 is a number that can be divided by 3. So A is divisible by 3. For 35, 3 plus 5 is 8. I can't divide 8 by 3. 8 divided by 3 will give me a decimal. So B is not correct. If I add the digits in the letter C, 1 plus 2 plus 3 gives me 6. 6 can be divided by 3, because 6 divided by 3 is 2. And then letter D, 1 plus 2 plus 5, that gives me 8. So again, 8 doesn't work. So A and C are divisible by 3. So if you want to figure out if you can divide a number by 3, you add the digits in the number together, and then see if that sum is a number that can be divided by 3. But remember, you have to know your multiples of 3, which we listed there for your notes. All right, the last one we'll look at for today, and then tomorrow you'll have, or in the next video, you'll have a different rule, is if you're divisible by 4. So what is the rule to be divisible by 4? So for 4, look at last 2 digits and determine if they can be divided by 4. So one quick trick for 4 is that odd numbers cannot be divided by 4. So remember, the odd numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Any number that ends in 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9 would be considered odd. So our multiples of 4, again, we've got 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, 48, 52, 56, 60, and then it just keeps going on, right? You just keep adding 4. So if the last 2 digits of your number are any of these numbers, you can divide that number by 4. So let's consider the number 128. If I look at the last 2 digits of 128, the last 2 digits of 128 are 28, and that's on my list. That's one of the multiples of 4. So this is divisible by 4. 128 divided by 4 would give you 32. So the easy way to tell is always just divide the number, and if you get a whole number, that means it's divisible. If you get a decimal, that means that it's not divisible. So our last one, our last example, which numbers are divisible by 4? So we've got 26, 48, 36, and 63. So right away I can eliminate D because this is an odd number, so that one can't be divided by 4. 36, I look at my list of my multiples of 4, and that is one of the multiples of 4, so 36 is good. 48 is also a multiple of 4, so I can circle 48. 26, it is an even number, so it could be divided by 2, but this is not a multiple of 4, so 26 could not be divided by 4. Okay, so this is divisibility tests. So, and also just something to point out with divisibility is that some numbers can be divisible by more than one number. So for example, 48 could be divisible by 4, could be divisible by 2, and it actually could be divisible by 3 as well. All right, so why don't you try the practice problems where you identify divisibility.